There's one thing that's really important to me, and it's a story that I tell to my classes. And it's a story of a crucial conversation that sat inside my family for 10 years. And it's a story of me after 9 years and after 4 years as a trainer, really being courageous enough to work through myself. And it's been amazing being able to take my classes through the story as the story's been unfolding for me as a person as I'm delivering that training. A little bit about it is that I started to write a book about my father who had Alzheimer's disease. And at the time that we put him into the home, the children of the family basically split. There's 7 of us, 3 this way and 4 that way. And it took a long time for me to be really willing to overcome that split and to wonder if there were conversations that I was able to have, particularly as a trainer and a master trainer, where I could start to heal that rift. So about 12 months ago, after going to the REACH conference in Utah, where the most amazing thing happened, my dad's face appeared on the wall in front of me. And I can tell you that no one else in the room saw my dad's face appear in the wall in front of me, but it was just me, and I knew that that was the call to write the book. So I proceeded to go and visit all of my brothers and sisters, and some of whom I hadn't visited for 10 years. And to talk about the things that we never talked about as a family. And some of the most moving, amazing conversations I've ever had. It has been such a privilege to share those with my classes, because I now know you can talk about almost anything with almost anyone. The most special part of the story is that after visiting all of my siblings, one of whom was unable to be found by me, I was driving home from Sydney to Brisbane, which is an 11-hour trip. And I stopped at a little place called Maxville just to get some fruit for a morning tea snack. And I had just finished interviewing both of my brothers in Sydney that night before and the night before that. And I walked in and I noticed a woman in the bakery, and I noticed her forearm, and it was really strange. I thought, you know, that's a strange thing to notice, someone's forearm in the bakery. And she had a long lock of grey hair and a little hat. And I thought, gosh, that's just so familiar. And I went round to get my apple, and I stood there and I just started to realise this woman looked like my nana. I wonder if that was my sister, the sister that I didn't know where she was. So I went back, and it was a knee-knocking moment. I hadn't spoken to her for 10 years. And one of the things we teach our classes is a question at the time where it matters the most, and it is, what do you really want? What do you want for you? What do you want for the other person? So what do I want for my sister? So I knew she was living a kind of lonely life, and I knew that I wanted her happiness too. And what do you want for the relationship? And I was really thinking about, what do I want for my family? So I went back and found her, and she was crouching down doing some labels for some bread, and I said, Les, and she didn't turn around, and I don't think I said it loud enough, but I said it again, and she did turn around. And you know, I just had this story running in my head about she hates me, she never wants to talk to me, and she stood forward and she gave me a hug, and I just burst into tears. And it was really just me living the skills, and it's just such a powerful way of sharing how it shows up in real life. And that can happen at work too, but I think when it matters the most, we do our worst, and it's about how deliberate we can be and what we really want out of our life, and whether we want to stay with an upset or work towards the healing of it. So the next part of this extraordinary story is that we exchange details with a view to catching up again. And a couple of weeks later, I went to the nursing home where my dad is, and I sat down and I told him the story that I'd been around and visited all the kids and how they were, and that they were all living really healthy lives and happy, and they were with grandchildren now. And whether or not my dad could hear me because of the Alzheimer's disease, it didn't really matter. But 2 weeks later, he went into a coma, and last week he died. And I just think, wow, you know, there's the skills in action for you. But I know that he went knowing we're all okay.